forget.
Yeah.
Like, what is this coming out? Why is it here?
Good evening, everyone. My name is David Freese. I'm the mayor of Tonganoxie. I'm calling to order this February 2nd, 2026 meeting of the Tonganoxie City Council. Ms. Huntington, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, Mayor. Mr. Wilkie?
Here.
Ms. McCutcheon?
Here.
Ms. Stevens?
Here.
Ms. Gruby?
Here.
Mr. Dale?
Here.
Would you join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Second item of business is the approval of minutes from the regular meeting dated January 20th, 2026. Does anyone have any questions or conversation about the minutes from the last meeting? If not, I would accept a motion to approve or deny.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Dale. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkie. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 3 is the consent agenda in which we review the bill payments from the previous period. Does anyone have any conversation or questions regarding the bill payments?
I have one small request, sort of a housekeeping thing. On those on whole dollar checks, would it be possible or too much work to put in the .00 so that they're all in the same format? Just kind of makes it easier to run down the list and be able to compare sizes. That'd be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dale.
I thought you were going to ask for a larger font. So I read it. Sorry, that's just
No, I'll leave that for the old people with bad eyes.
If there are no more questions, I'd accept a motion.
I'll
So
motion
moved.
to approve. No.
I heard Ms. McCutcheon first. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Dale. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Item 4 is old business, in which we discuss either old business, as it says, or items that the public bring forward. Did anyone sign up to speak, Mr. Porter?
No sign-ups, Mayor.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to new business then. Item A, under new business is ordinance 1545. Consider approval of the downtown regulating plan rezoning action. Mr. Brockovich.
Yes, thanks, Mayor. I'll just do a brief introduction. Well, first, let me start by introducing or reintroducing Chris Brewster. He is our on-call or contracted city planner, and he's been involved with this project from the get-go, but he's been with us for much longer than that. But as a quick reminder, on this downtown regulating plan, just looking through the notes, getting ready for the meeting tonight, it was back in 2023 that we originally wrote the RFQ, requesting qualifications to help us work on updating a downtown plan. In fact, the plan that we had on the books at the time has literally no date in the document itself of when it was created, and so Dan and I, Mr. Porter and I would often just refer to the date the PDF was created as a potential time that was actually adopted by the city. And it was kind of a loose set of rules that weren't followed very well. And so what we really wanted to do with the downtown regulating plan then was really address not just 4th Street, but the corridors moving both to the north and south, as well as doing the things that we were trying to be creative with in terms of repurposing buildings and projects that we had already seen, and just trying to codify that in a way that would allow some consistency and allow some more clear paths forward to get projects done. So obviously, if we did the RFQ in 2023, we selected a group in 24, we spent a lot of time with focus groups and meeting with the public and vetting plans and tonight, I think I can say we're in the final stage as we're circling to rezoning that's part of this project. The last thing I'll throw in is that I want to actually thank our staff as well. They made themselves, Mr. Porter, Mrs. Huntington, made themselves available that if anybody that was impacted by this project or received a letter, they didn't have to go just to the Planning Commission meeting where this was discussed. They actually carved out time in an afternoon for folks to come by City Hall, and we had a couple of interested property owners come and do that. And so I want to thank them for arranging that time outside of just public meetings to talk about that. But with that, we're excited that we're at this stage. I think we have a great plan, and I think we're already hearing some grand ideas for properties in that corridor. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Brewster to do the staff presentation on it. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Brakovic. Chris Brewster with Multi-Studio. Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is coming to you with a recommendation from Planning Commission. They heard it and had a public hearing at their January meeting, and it was a unanimous recommendation to approve these rezonings with, I believe, one vacant seat and one absent at that meeting. So this is a view of the properties. One of the plan's recommendations, the plan you adopted formally in January, had a recommendation to consider rezoning of some specific properties, and those are listed here in blue. The left side of the screen, they were all zoned what was priorly RSF, so single-family residential. And the one on the left there, which is the depot property, was zoned industrial. And so the plan recommended to rezone the RSF category up to still a residential category, but the next increment up. And then the depot property was recommended to move from industrial into the downtown historic business standards. So this is a closer look at that property. The GIS layers are a little bit off on the aerial, but it includes the depot building. We have talked to that property owner and a potential purchaser of what that means for their property, and I think they agree that this is putting it in a better position to move it into the historic business district rather than industrial. And then these are the residential properties. Our staff memo that went to Planning Commission noted some of the conditions of them. About half of the properties currently have single-family homes on them. There is one that has a multifamily building that's non-conforming. There's one that has a commercial building that's a non-conforming use. And there's 2 or 3 institutional properties, the largest being the library. And so that was one of the reasons the plan recommended rezoning this to that next residential category up, because it allows a greater mix to happen. But it also puts into place some controls on mixed use and what can happen in that corridor that we have been experiencing over a period of years in there. And so the idea is to strengthen downtown by having more opportunities for residential or potentially mixed use on the corridor, but certainly single-family homes can contribute to that as well. And so all of those things will be allowed. I'll skip through some of the plan details since you all just adopted it, but the Planning Commission did look into all of this, and the proposal is consistent with that. This is a view of the left is the land use, the long-range recommendation for in the downtown plan, and then you can see those properties that we just mentioned were called out to go to that next increment up of zoning on the left and to be converted from purple to red on the right with the depot property. With the ones moving to this table is essentially what this means for the residential properties. When we adopted the plan and the regulating code, we shifted to a residential strategy based on building types. And the reason for that is all of the near downtown neighborhoods, even their existing patterns, the older historic development patterns, didn't match the RSF zoning, which was required, which was geared more towards conventional subdivisions. And so these building types reflected the old existing patterns. So the RDT1 is everything that was RSF, and RDT2 was everything that was the multifamily. So it allowed a broader mix of downtown or neighborhood appropriate housing types. But essentially what this shows is the shift is leaving those properties as they are now. So in other words, they can still do a detached house. It just gives them more of the black boxes are checked, that there's more opportunities for different development should that happen, and all of that would be at their own choice. Each property owner could choose to do that if they wanted to. So there's no pending or immediate development associated with it. It just corrects some of the nonconformances, give property owners a few new opportunities in the future, and all of that would support downtown more appropriately. Then with the depot property, again, a zoned industrial, so a historic building that's been there and didn't match the zoning districts. We did improve some of the industrial, east side industrial areas to more downtown supportive patterns while leaving them industrial. However, this property seemed to be an outlier because it was used as a commercial building with more mixed uses in it. And it was a very small scale building, not meeting the industrial standards. So again, on that one, shifting it into HBD where it's actually in use and in building format is consistent with all of those standards was something that we thought was appropriate. And we spoke with the property owner and a potential buyer about that as well. These are the criteria that in your zoning ordinance that you need to go through to, the Planning Commission goes through to recommend zoning approvals. Our staff report went into detail on each of these criteria. We did recommend approval to the Planning Commission. We felt both of these proposals, the residential on the west side and the historic business district on the east side, those rezonings meet the plan and meet all of these criteria. We recommended approval, and as I mentioned, the Planning Commission did vote unanimously to recommend approval to you all as well. And I'd be happy to answer any specific questions you might have, or if there's anything in the presentation you'd like to go through, since I jumped through some of the more detailed slides that the Planning Commission saw, I could go back to those as well.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brewster. Are there any questions? Looks good. At this point, then we would be looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 1545, approval of the downtown regulating plan rezoning action.
Thank you, Mr. Dale. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Ms. Stevens. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Brewster. All right, we'll move on to item B, consider approval of fire station generator purchase. Mr. Porter.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to recognize Chief Zimmelman for being here tonight as well, and I'm sure he'd be happy to answer any specific questions you have, but I'll do a brief introduction. The item included in your agenda packet with an agenda statement and a quote is a budgeted initiative for 2026, and it includes the installation of a generator to power a little less than half of the fire station facility. If you've not toured it before, it's divided up into living quarters and a front equipment bay and office space. Previously, the station did have a generator installed for emergency power on the south portion of the building, which is the equipment bay and office space, but it didn't have living quarter generator coverage at that time. So in the event of a catastrophe or a situation without power, only part of the building worked, and both parts are functionally necessary to run the fire department, especially for a prolonged period of time. So this budget initiative was supported in the adopted budget, and you'll see two quotes shown for comparison. I do want to point out the quotes are not exactly apples to apples. They're different rated generators, different power capacity. The generator that's $108 more is recommended for purchase instead of the lower cost unit. One reason is it has a little more power capacity. The other is that it's the same brand as the existing generator on the other half of the building. So in the event of a maintenance call or an issue, rather than hiring two companies or two service techs and paying duplicate fees or experiencing confusion when they evaluate the systems, there'd be good efficiencies of having the same equipment on site. So staff do have that recommendation and don't have any budget concerns, but we'd be happy to take any questions. And do you want to say anything, Chief? Okay. All right.
Thanks, Mr. Porter. Are there any questions or comments for Mr. Porter or Mr. Heskett? I'm sorry, Chief.
Chief Heskett, we like to call him.
Chief Zimmelman.
I don't have any, I just want to say, this is, even though it's a few dollars more, having, I mean, this was approved in last year's budget, when we were preparing last year for this year's budget, but having them come from the same company, the two generators, it would make sense for the congruency of operations there.
Anyone else?
I appreciate having in multiple quotes just to see that the pricing makes sense too. So thank you.
Anyone else? If not, I'd be looking for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I will make a motion to authorize the purchase of the 26 kW Kohler generator from Absolute Comfort Technologies, Inc. for an amount not to exceed $14,490.
Thank you, Ms. Stevens. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Gruby. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Chief. Moving on to item C. Consider approval of 2026 Hunter Education Temporary License Agreement with the Recreation Commission. Mr. Porter.
Thank you, Mayor. We've got all the right people in the room for this one. Brad Eccles with the Tonganoxie Recreation Commission, who helps coordinate and provide this class with the assistance of instructors through the program. Ken Heskett, whose shop and the firing range at the Public Works campus hosts the event, and Lindsay, who wrote the agenda statement. So we've got everybody here who's worked on this. For those of you that are new, the city since 2000, for many years now, the city has partnered with the Rec Commission and this program to provide this safety training and educational class opportunity with Kansas Hunter Education. One thing that is good with this is coordination, so the police department's aware and doesn't book the range for training, and the Public Works Department's aware that their shop is ready and usable. And we've reviewed the dates this year as well. There's a lease agreement included in the agenda packet that's been used since 2020 with good effect. And it just outlines roles and responsibilities, and we don't have any concerns to report from previous years. We're hopeful that this will continue in the future because it is an important initiative and helps preserve the safety of people enjoying those recreational activities that come from this kind of training. So I'm happy to take any questions you might have. Anyone here basically could answer them. So.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. Mr. Eccles, is there anything you wanted to add at all?
I appreciate you guys considering this and say it's been a great partnership. I appreciate you guys considering this. It's been a great partnership with the city, and Kent's great to work with. Chief Lawson they're all very helpful. The numbers we've done 3 classes a year. We've kind of dropped down to 2. Numbers have declined a little bit because now once you're 16, the NRA allows you to do online entirely. So we kind of lose the folks that are 18 plus. A lot of them take advantage of doing it online and stuff, but it's worked out great. We haven't had any incidents so far. Got 3 great volunteers that have been doing it for a long, long time that really take pride in running a tight ship and doing a good job and providing the class for us. So.
What's it cost nowadays to take that class?
We charge $5 for residents, and the only cost really is we buy pizza. We provide lunch for everybody, so that just kind of covers the cost of the lunch. We don't make anything off it.
Very cool. Any questions for anyone in the room? Anyone? Thanks, Mr. Eccles. I would be looking for a motion.
I make a motion to authorize the city manager to execute a 2026 temporary license agreement with the Tonganoxie Recreation Commission for the utilization of city facilities for Kansas Hunter education courses.
Thank you, Ms. Gruby. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkie. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Brad. Item D, consider approval of a temporary cereal malt beverage CMB application for VFW fundraising event. Mr. Porter.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is a temporary cereal malt beverage permit, which you may remember we recently approved annual cereal malt beverage permits for events of this nature, which aren't a licensed premise all the time. This is an appropriate program that the state and the city code coordinate approvals for. The applicant in this case has already been approved by the state. They've submitted their fee to the city per the city code requirements, and they've outlined their event, time, date, fundraising event. Again, this is for the VFW Post 9271 at the VFW facility. We made Chief Lawson aware and don't have any concerns to report from that regard, nor do we have a history of concerning events at this place or with this group to highlight. We do periodically get requests like this, but in the past it's usually been like after prom committees or other fundraising groups. I think this is the first one in at least 7 or 8 years that's been by the VFW Post themselves. But again, no concerns to express, and the draft motion is to approve the permit as requested. But happy to take any questions if you have them.
Any questions from Mr. Porter? If not, I would accept a motion.
I will make a motion to approve the temporary CMB permit for an on-premise event hosted by the Tonganoxie VFW on February 13th, 2026 at 910 East First Street.
All right, thank you, Ms. McCutcheon. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Stevens. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item F on the agenda is review recommendation from Tonganoxie Recreation Commission for Chieftain Park Playground Project. Mr. Porter,
Did we skip item E?
did I? Yes, I did. I apologize. I just crossed it out.
Sorry, Kent.
Trying to get you up here and then trying to keep you seated. All right, consider approval of purchase of equipment for Public Works Department Freightliner dump trucks. Mr. Porter.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is a follow-up to a recent approval of the purchase of 2 dump trucks, one single axle, one tandem axle, that was approved just a few weeks ago. This is the procurement of the equipment, which I won't list in exact detail, but generally the dump truck bodies for the hauling and salt spreaders, plows, and all of those associated very important attachments to their operation. One thing that is important to highlight is the difference in cost. A lot of that's based on what the dump trucks are used for. You can see in the attached bids, the single axle truck has a much more extensive cost, but it also has a more extensive list of equipment that it's being equipped with for services that are a little more varied. We also, in this bid, do request in the motion addition of the disposition order to allow the city staff to sell on Purple Wave our 2007 single axle and our 2007 tandem axle international dump trucks, which was also contemplated in the budget. While we want to give Mr. Heskett his kudos for budget projections about a year ago now, he is 0.0037% over budget on a $385,000 purchase. So we told him it's going to come out of his check next week.
Unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
18 months ahead, that's really good.
That's a good guess, yes. He's very good at this. Happy to take any questions you may have, but one thing to point out too, the reason you don't see multiple quotes is it's procured through a cooperative procurement method, which is pre-bid in a state contract. So it has been cooperatively procured in the basis it was given to us. So with that, I'm sure Mr. Heskett would take any questions also.
Yeah. Now, Mr. Heskett, it's your time to shine, if you'd like to come up and tell us any more about it. Okay, do you have any questions for Mr. Porter or Mr. Heskett? All right, then we'll move forward with the motion. Yes.
For all your help with the snow and
Oh, yes,
the
excellent
miserable
job.
weather. Just highlight everyone's week.
Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to authorize staff to proceed with outfitting 2 2027 Freightliner trucks via American Equipment Company for a total amount not to exceed $169,404, and to authorize the sale of 2 2007 International dump trucks and any associated snow and ice removal equipment on Purple Wave Inc. The sale may transpire upon the activation of the newly purchased vehicles.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dale. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkie. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Heskett. And finally, review recommendation from Tonganoxie Recreation Commission for Chieftain Park Playground Project. Mr. Porter.
Thank you, Mayor, and we appreciate Mr. Eccles coming tonight for this discussion. It's an exciting point to be in with this project, and as you all know, there have been many steps before tonight, and we've still got a host of steps to continue on, working on as part of this project. That's really important to the community. We do want to highlight that included in the agenda packet is a letter from Mr. Eccles noting the recommendation of the Tonganoxie Recreation Commission and the small group of collaborators that was tasked with preparing a recommendation for them to consider, which they did at their most recent meeting. And I won't steal any of Brad's thunder. I'll let him outline why the recommended award, based on the qualifications received and interviews conducted, was what it was. But just want to highlight that from city staff perspective, the process has been done very well and very professionally, and we had a host of qualified submittals to consider. So just want to highlight too, one last thing, which is that we're not asking you to consider a contract tonight. With this action, I guess, or with this sharing of information, we are requesting that if we have your support to go forward, we'll negotiate that final contract with this company that was recommended. So with that, I'll turn it over to Brad if he wants to say a few words also.
Yeah, thank you. As my letter stated, we had assembled, I think, a great committee to review. We had 9 RFQ submittals. We whittled those down to 4. Thank Mr. Wilkie here for help serving on the board. Lindsay also sat in on the presentations and heard. So we had four great presentations. We ultimately selected Cunningham Recreation. Cunningham, they work with Game Time. Game Time is one of the top names in playground equipment. Been around a long time. They've got local projects. They're working on a all-inclusive project at Blue Valley Rec right now. I've spoke with their director recently. Said it's running very smoothly. We feel Cunningham's presentation, basically, we were getting more bang for our buck. There was a lot more equipment in their design. Really impressed. Feel like they can lead the project from design all the way to install, turnkey type of project, which is what we were looking for, which is why we selected Cunningham.
All right, cool. Anyone have any questions? This will be a super project for our community, and just building social infrastructure is just a huge thing for us, I think.
Excited to get to work on some design and getting some public input and getting working on this thing, so.
Yeah.
I want to say thanks for letting me participate in the committee. I think it was a great group of people, like Brad said, and each person that we interviewed did an incredible job, but I think that we kind of methodically tracked the strengths and weaknesses of each company and felt that this was the best of all the different interests weighed of the budget, but also trying to make sure this equipment is inclusive to kids with special needs or disabilities, that kind of thing. So we're thinking bigger than just what looks cool on a piece of paper. So I think the amount of thought went into it that I think was great. So, and thank you, Brad, for your excitement pushing this project forward. It's exciting.
Long time coming.
Yep, definitely. Anyone else?
Sounds great.
All right. Thanks, guys. Okay, that ends new business for the evening, and we'll move on to city manager agenda. Mr. Brockovich, do you have anything for us?
Yes, thanks, Mayor. So one item tonight, and it's a discussion about the Front Street project. And so staff is excited to say we've held our pre-construction meeting with our contractor, and that project's gearing up to start. As a reminder to our 2 newest members of the City Council, so this project, Front Street, was on our CMIP list, and it was a priority street project that needed to be redone. We were trying to fill in gaps for sidewalks. We knew we had stormwater issues, and the road itself in the past had seen some really heavy traffic and even to this day sees heavy traffic. And so the road condition itself, both the surface and subsurface, were in need of repair and replacement. And so we've been working towards that. Initially, when we did the CMIP, Front Street kind of runs the east-west, and Ridge Street is the one that makes the T intersection and actually runs north-south and connects to 2440, and that's the road you would pull off of to turn into Brothers. That was also on our CMIP list. And when we originally got our EOPC, or Engineer's Opinion of Probable Cost, we were concerned that we wouldn't have funds in place to do both projects. So we split the projects apart and decided that Front Street, the council made the decision that Front Street was the top priority, and we were going to go ahead and address that. So we were pleasantly surprised then when the bids came in. They were significantly below the engineer's opinion of probable cost. And as we ended up awarding that contract and had additional discussions, we thought the contractor indicated they may have some interest if there was an expanded scope or a change order that would include doing some stormwater improvements, sidewalk connection, and both surface and subsurface repairs to Ridge Street. And so working with our city engineer group, we believe that the savings we had in terms of, because we typically budget off of the engineer's opinion of probable cost, and so we carried that budget with us. And I guess as a quick side note, that project was actually slated for 2025, but we were concerned because we would have to start the construction process late in the year, that if we got into the fall and cold temperatures would limit asphalt production. And we have some businesses that are located on Front Street that have access only from Front Street. We didn't want a prolonged closure of that road, so we bumped it to the spring. And so that's why we're doing that now. But to go back to the Ridge Street, the savings, we think, based on the engineer's recalculations of what it would cost to do Ridge Street, we believe we're still under our original budget just for the Front Street project. And so we would like to move forward with that. And what we're asking for tonight is some direction, because there are some cost savings. We will have some additional discussions about road maintenance projects coming up as we get into the season to do that. And so we didn't want to assume that Ridge Street remained a priority. However, if we get some direction from the council tonight that says, hey, while that contractor's here, they're mobilized, let's see if we can't get that done for that initial savings that we've encountered on Front Street. Let's go ahead and do both of the projects. And so from a sequencing standpoint, they would still address Front Street first and then bump over to do Ridge Street. If we get that direction from you as a group tonight, the first thing we'll do is go back to the city engineers group to complete a more full or conducive survey to make sure that all of our assumptions about costs associated with Ridge are accurate, and then we'll continue to move forward. And what ultimately we would come back with a change order for the project for your consideration and ultimate approval. So clear as mud, clear as street projects can be. So I didn't want to lose. The good news in there was, wow, we got really competitive bidding, and we were fortunate enough to have enough savings that we can maybe do 2 road projects for what we had budgeted for 1. So, but I'd be happy to answer any other questions. I know Mr. Heskett and the Public Works Group has been busy. We had to relocate a water line there, and they do such a good job, thorough job on that. But Mr. Porter or Mr. Heskett or I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Council, so what we're looking for here is just a consensus on how to go forward, how to move forward. What do we think?
I know when we discussed this last year in budget, you guys, Jenny and Jake, helped jog my memory. It seemed like we talked about these as one, envisioning that one area as being a problem area. So if we can do both.
Do it.
knock it out.
Can I ask one question regarding Front Street and the project? I wasn't here during the planning of that. it does include sidewalks, or somewhere along there a sidewalk?
Yes. yeah.
Already? Okay, so that's already in the plan.
Yep, so Front
Cool.
Street will be stormwater improvements. There really aren't any now, besides an open ditch. So these will actually be curb inlets, a sidewalk. And then Ridge would close the rest of the gap because we did a newer project in McGee Meadows and they have sidewalks. So that would really close a sidewalk gap we have in the city.
And those are busy streets, so.
Yeah, how would the crosswalk work crossing over to a sidewalk on Ridge Street? So someone walking to get groceries, there's a plan for that? How that would, there's just a lot of traffic right there. If cars zoom in onto the
Yep,
highway,
good
so-
question. So I believe it's the placement or recommended placement of the sidewalk on Ridge would be to put it on the east side of the street, and then there would be a clearly marked crosswalk to get to the sidewalk on Front Street, which is on the south side of Front Street. So I think in the packet, Mr. Porter added an illustration to kind of show you how that would work.
That blue
It
line.
makes it a little difficult. Ridge Street's difficult because you have so many drives and approaches. And so it's kind of, pick the lesser of two evils of where you try to put the sidewalk. What's fortunate is it is a smaller stretch, keeping the sidewalk on the side that has the grocery store and things of that nature. Hopefully anyone that's walking from like the Ridge Apartments or McGee Meadows or in the neighborhoods, they can kind of stay closer to the grocery store side and not have to worry about crossing the street. And then for all the folks walking from there down to the dog park with their dogs, hopefully they'll scoot across the road quickly. But we'll certainly pay very close attention to how well that crosswalk is marked and what the markings look like on the pavement.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? I'm seeing nods all around, so I think we have consensus to move forward.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. City Attorney agenda, Ms. Kirstelich?
Just a quick update. I am still working with Chief Lawson on the e-mobility ordinance. We did do a draft. It is more complicated than I expected. We'll provide information to you all. There's the standard traffic ordinance has a bunch of different definitions for different types of bicycles, motorcycles, e-bikes, motorized. I mean, there's just, it's a laundry list. So we will break that down for you all when we do present it, just to explain the different types of devices and the rules that will apply. So just trying to make it to where it's easily accessible and digestible for anyone who would be looking at it. At this point, I don't think it is. You would need to be able to look at multiple different ordinances. So, but just so you know that we are still working on that, and we hope to bring that
Great.
at the next meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem agenda, Ms. Stevens?
No items this evening.
City Council agenda. Council, does anyone have anything they'd like to mention? No? Okay. That brings it to the mayor agenda. I have a proclamation.
Megan, Vestal.
I have Tonganoxie Phil first on my,
Sorry.
it's okay.
I'm looking at my paper.
We have a proclamation of February 2, 2026 as Tonganoxie Field Day. I'll just read this to you. I'm sorry, I'll stumble through it, but I'll do my best. A proclamation paying tribute to Dr. Philip Stevens for his service to our community in the city of Tonganoxie, Kansas. Whereas Dr. Philip Stevens has been a respected and well-known member of the Tonganoxie community, both personally and professionally. Whereas beginning in 1998, Dr. Stevens first assumed the role of Tonganoxie Phil, becoming the local Punxsutawney Phil and participating annually in Groundhog Day. Whereas for more than 2 decades, Dr. Stevens continued this tradition each February 2nd by delighting local residents with his annual forecast. Whereas Dr. Stevens' role as Tonganoxie Phil has been documented and celebrated through the local media articles dating back to at least 2001, keeping a tradition alive for the benefit of the local community. Whereas Through his appearances, statements, and predictions, Dr. Stevens has brought many smiles, conversation, and a sense of shared traditions to the residents of Tonganoxie during the winter season. Now therefore, be it hereby resolved that the city of Tonganoxie hereby honor Dr. Philip Stevens as a treasure to this community for his exemplary life well lived and impact on the Tonganoxie community, and we recognize February 2nd as Tonganoxie Phil Day.
Yay.
So we just need to, is it a motion or is it a,
I believe the mayor made a proclamation, so.
so it's so proclaimed.
This is executive order.
Here, here.
Here.
Our forecast usually right.
Thank you, that's great.
It's forecast usually right.
Consider, item 2 on my agenda is a consider reappointment of Megan Vestal for Library Board. Ms. Vestal has served admirably as the Library Board President and has, she's had some rough times, and she's been able to keep working and keeping the library a priority in her life. I think the world of her. I think she runs a good meeting, and so I would like to reappoint her, Megan Vestal, for Library Board. Can I just get an A, an I if you support it,
Aye.
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 and an A if you don't? All right, thank you. We'll report Miss Vestal to the Library Board. Now, number 3 is the executive session for consultation with attorney.
First of all, Mayor, thank you for acknowledging
Oh, sure.
Tonganoxie Phil, my dad. He really looks forward to Groundhog's Day every year.
Sweet.
All right, I move that the city council recess into executive session to obtain legal advice regarding a potential request for annexation and related matters pursuant to the attorney-client consultation exception KSA 75-43119B2. The executive session will include the city attorney, city manager, assistant city manager, and city clerk. The open meeting will resume in city council chambers in 30 minutes, which will be 8:12.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We're in executive session.
Put in my coat.
You're ready to fly out of here.
I know, I'm chilly. I'm cold all the time.
Well, it's been that way. We went to dinner the other night and it was so cold in there. I was cold until 2 in the morning. It was awful.
Okay. No binding action was taken in the executive session.
All right, that's it for my agenda. Jake,
Motion to adjourn.
is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Ms. McCutcheon. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. See you in a couple weeks.